There are two things that are rarely talked about but are so important to all of us: beauty and civility. Without them, there is nothing to aspire to and nothing to protect. Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Moleski. This is my YouTube channel. Today, an important topic that no one talks about: beauty and civility. Both men and women appreciate things that are pleasing to see, or smell, or feel, or hear. We are driven to have beautiful experiences. We are driven by beauty. We are driven to protect it. Imagine a world without beauty. What happens to a person when they are surrounded with a lack of beauty, or worse, ugliness? It could be the mirror that they've let themselves go. It could be that they're horrible at decorating their house and it's not aesthetically pleasing. Maybe the food that they regularly eat is from a box or from a can. It's not homemade, nor is it presented in a way that causes them to look at it with appreciation. It could be that their neighborhood is dirty or trashy. Their office building that they work in has cubicles and brown commercial carpet and fluorescent lights. What does that do to a person's soul? The short answer is probably simply it does nothing good. Have you ever really considered that question? Now, stop at this moment. Is there anything right now in your life that is not beautiful? What is the ugliest thing in your life right now? In real life, I talk a lot about the culture of a neighborhood and the culture of community palettes. Like a palette. So I notice this all the time. Maybe you have, or maybe you will now that I'm going to say it, but that neighborhoods share a style or a culture. So it's like everyone has roses by their mailbox for 2 blocks, and then all of a sudden they have mulch by their front and it's a certain color. Everyone has a certain color, and there's white lilies planted. And then a couple blocks later, there's bird baths everywhere. And then there's a certain light fixture everywhere. And then. It's a culture of a neighborhood. Whether we like it or not, we are influenced by our surroundings. Have you ever worked somewhere and taken on their culture? I have. I worked at a place where everyone hiked. So what did I start doing all the time? Hiking. I worked at a place where everyone did yoga. What did I do for 2 years, like every day for an hour? Yoga. I worked at a place where everyone read and talked about Atlas Shrugged. What did I do? I read Atlas Shrugged. I worked at a place where everyone brought an avocado every day. Guess what I ate more of those 3 years than any other time in my life? Avocados. We are molded by our surroundings. So I was recently at a gathering where everyone knew each other, and I overheard someone say that they were feeling down that day, that they were feeling a little off. And then I heard someone say, "Oh, I'm sorry, was it my mood that put you in a bad mood?" No, she said. Someone else said, "Oh, I'm sorry, was it the text that I sent you earlier?" She said, "No." And someone else was like, "Oh, was it what I said to you when you got here?" She said no. And I thought about that a lot after the fact. Was it the attitude, the text, or the words that made her feel down? She said no. She said no to all of it. But I think it's fascinating because there's really 2 options. Either she was in a normal, happy, or at least neutral mood, and then all those things together swayed her into feeling down or off or kind of in a bad mood. Or she woke up on the wrong side of the bed and all those things stacked up to keep her there. We influence each other. And with that fact, you could potentially be someone's beauty for the whole day. Speaking of beauty, there was a girl I knew in my early 20s. Her name was Jen, and she had a boyfriend. And from afar, they didn't seem well matched. And with any aesthetically mismatched couple, you kind of wonder what it is about the other person that makes them come together. She was gorgeous, jolly, hearty in a farm kind of way. Okay, so I was invited to a party and I went there with their good friend, and we knocked at the door and he answered. Jen's boyfriend. And he greeted my friend because he knew her, and then he turned to me and he's like, "Oh my God, you must be Jennifer. It's so good to meet you." And he looked into my eyes, and his eyes were warm and genuine. Have you ever been directly looked into from warm eyes? You'll meet so many good-looking people in your life, but you'll only meet a handful of people who look at you with warmth. So at that moment, that's why I knew they were together. He was stunning. And all at once, I felt at ease. I felt totally comfortable with my surroundings, and I wanted to deliver to others that vibe that he put onto me. He was controlling that whole party. He was a true host. of his surroundings. So that experience and many others have led me to believe that humanity is guided by beauty and civility is beauty in action. I put a lot of pressure on people out there to live with as much integrity as possible. I believe in civility and I believe in beauty. Cohesive cultures, strong, proud communities are built on two things: beauty, civility. So what is beauty? According to an internet definition, beauty is a quality present in a thing or person that can give intense pleasure or deep satisfaction to the mind, whether arising from sensory manifestations such as shape, color, sound, etc., a meaningful design or pattern, or something else, such as a personality. Have you ever been to a beautiful place? Let's say the Sistine Chapel, Angkor Wat, Taj Mahal. Okay, what about a beautiful restaurant where there's tons of beautiful, well put together people, perfectly polished silverware, wine glasses made from the world's finest crystal, and wine decanters that are actually out on tables because they're such pieces of art. Okay, what about the one time you splurged to stay at that really nice hotel that has like the Chihuly commissioned chandelier and lighting that makes your skin look perfect, and whatever the hell that smell is that's always in the hallways, it just smells so good, and like ions, like it's just thunderstorm air has been pumped into the hall. That's beautiful. Those beautiful things are composed and or created as a static expression of beauty. And static beauty created by human mind and hand is more often created in a civil society, in a civil state. Beauty is more easily birthed within a civil state. So these intentionally created beautiful things are meant to get you into a state of mind. And then the next beautiful thing you see is to arrest your mind and keep it in that holy place. It works too. People actually go to places to be inspired. The sole purpose of going to those places is to be inspired. How inspiring! How inspiring! How inspiring! That saying is exclaimed because of a sight, a visual, an action, or a moments. She's, he's, and it's. All those things can be inspiring. So there's man-made beauty versus God-created beauty. God-created beauty, the smell of a really pretty flower, a pretty smelling flower, a sunset, a beautiful woman, a snow flurry that catches the sun just perfect. God-created beauty is unearned, it's accidental, it's unfair. It's not a choice. But how you spend it, how you see it, how you use it is a choice. It is an action. It is the civility. Civility has to be practiced. It is done with purpose. It is done on purpose. It is free will. It is a choice. Beauty compels us. It drives us. It makes most of us feel civilized and special. It makes us stand taller. It makes us hyper aware of who we are and that we are a part of that space. You don't want to stand out in beauty's presence. You want to be a part of it, a part of the art. You don't want to dwarf it. You want to protect it. Maybe you want to possess it. But being in the midst of beauty doesn't present itself often enough for many people. Therefore, what is it? It's valuable. Beauty makes you want to contribute to its perfection. It makes you speak more kindly and act more reverent to that moment in life. It's like jumping into an icy lake, which is something I used to do. It makes you know you're alive. It reminds you, I have these senses, I am here. It keeps you present. No future thinking, no past dwelling. It makes you aware of the simplicity of life and the more divine meaning of it. Being in the, here's the kicker, in the accepted presence of beauty changes lives for the better. When you have an opportunity to make someone comfortable in the presence of beauty, do it. I always tell beautiful people that their responsibility is greater than the average person. If they are to utilize their undeserved beauty in the most positively impactful way, they must be civil, kind, polite, warm. Unfortunately, most people are taught by an increasingly uncivilized society that they should use their beauty to command and abuse others to build their own self-esteem. It doesn't work. It only robs them of their humanity. Beauty, coupled with incivility, is when shit can really hit the fan. A snub alone can piss off most people. No one likes to be intentionally mistreated. But if you add beauty to that snub, its impact is tenfold. It can make men turn violent and women turn to ice. It leaves men with nothing to protect, and it robs women of the desire to be feminine and beautiful. And now again, there's even more to not protect. Incivility done too many times to too many people will destroy a nation. How? Because nations follow their people. A degradized soul is sad. A nation full of degradized souls is a calamity. A culture whose scale is weighed down with incivility and ugliness becomes monochrome, inverted, unimaginative. I think there could be a compelling argument to be made that beauty and civility is the only thing that really matters. Lack of beauty and civility can cause people to become brutal. Brutality comes out only to protect beauty, and the rest of the time it's everyone's job to create it and notice it and not take it for granted. The truth is both men and women give preferential treatment to things that look beautiful, but only if they look safe. Only if they're safe. Sometimes your judgment is poor and your hope is high, but you discover it after it's too late. You find out that fragrant flower is toxic, the pretty woman is evil, the beautiful house is haunted, and the handsome dog bites. I don't want you to be the woman that is the final straw for a man, leaving him believing that loving a woman is unsafe. I don't want you to be the man that is the final straw for a woman, leaving her believing that being around a man is unsafe. I don't want you to leave a patch of lawn without planting a flower in it. I don't want your eyes averting a stranger. I don't want you to hide your smile. I don't want you withholding all of your divine and creative potential and resources from the world, because it'll eventually ruin you and it'll ruin those around you. That's all. Something to consider today. Beauty and civility. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think? I think it's important. Okay, go out in the world and be beautiful for someone. Okay, come again.